everyone, today I'll be reviewing this movie. It is kind of new and it is dropped on Netflix called One Shot, and it is starring Ryan Phillips, Scott Adkins, Ashley Greene, and this movie is directed by Mann. So this movie actually came out a couple of months ago, and it is on Netflix. And in this movie we see the group of SEAL Navy officer, they goes to in this remote CIA operative island out of nowhere to get this prisoner there, to get him out of there to Washington DC, because this prisoner, he actually holding very important information about this thing is about to happen in this movie. So I must say, this movie, when it started, I was like, oh, I have seen this kind of movie like 1,000 times before. I had really low expectation from this movie for some reason. Scott Adkins, I actually never seen him before, so I didn't actually know him. So I was like, oh, who is this actor? You know, he's trying to be so, like, at first you don't know him. He's trying to be like this Navy SEAL officer. He's trying to be nice, and I'm like, oh, isn't everybody's like him? So I didn't actually pay attention to him at first. But actually, in this movie, Scott Adkins, his character actually kind of grow on you. You see him throughout the movie. He's just trying to do his job, and he's trying to get things done because that is his job. He's there to rescue this prisoner, to get him there where he's supposed to be. Otherwise, this big thing will happen in this movie. And Ashley Greene, she is just the CIA analyst in this movie. You see her, she's trying to do also her job to get this prisoner safely out of here, get there. And in this movie, there's also Ryan Phillips. I'm glad he's getting more movie in this movie. Ryan Phillips is this in charge there in that prison. He's actually doesn't want to let this prisoner go because he does have this personal thing with something. So I don't want to get into too much detail into the plot because I don't actually know what to say about it. Might be huge spoiler. That being said, I'll say this movie, what it surprised me is, first of all, this prisoner they're talking here. At first we meet him, this guy, they're torturing him like non-stop. I will say about this movie, the plot is quite simple. Like, they're just there to get this prisoner, and this in charge, the manager there, basically doesn't want to let him go because this Ryan Phillips guy. But when they get attacked from these people there, they try to get this prisoner because he has this important information. Of course, everybody's after this prisoner. In this prisoner, you meet him, you're like, oh, so this movie does good job of keeping this secret. Is he a bad guy or a good guy? Because throughout the movie, I was thinking, is he really bad guy or they are just suspecting him? So this movie done good job on keeping you in suspense. Like, you don't know the bad guy is actually really bad guy, or they're just because you don't know these days. So I was really surprised how his story turns out in this movie. Of course, everybody is talking about this movie action. I have to say it, yeah, this movie's action is really good. It's shockingly so good. Story might not be good, but the way this movie was done, it's supposed to be one shot. So I would say, I didn't thought it's always one shot. I could say like some shot, maybe not one shot, but you know, it did definitely the way this movie was edited, it does looks like one shot movie. It's supposed to be like kind of like Extraction. I would say this movie is actually much better than Extraction. Some people say, oh, the Extraction is like such a huge movie on Netflix. But I will say the only reason Extraction is so big on Netflix because of Chris Hemsworth. If this movie was someone else was starring in it, it would not that be that hit. Honestly, that is that. I think this movie, Scott Adkins, he really sells you all the action scene. He's so good. Of course, I didn't know he's actually really a real life martial artist. So you can, that is why I think all the action scenes looked really authentic and very real. I was like, oh my god, this scene, some of the scene, you can see all the hand-to-hand combat he was doing in this movie. They're so good, and when you watch it, you feel like it's really taking place. So all the action scene, like, I don't have to tell nobody, it's really good in this movie. Story is like, you have seen it before, but I will say the way this movie was shot, all the suspense around the character, it makes it interesting, honestly. If this movie only had a good action, it would not be good. I will say what made the movie this good is like the suspense around the character, because you don't know who are good guy. I mean, you know who is good guy because obviously these people are bad guy. They are attacking here. But what I mean is like the prisoner, they're trying to get him to DC. You don't know he's good or bad. That character turns he take in this movie, I found it interesting. Again, we have seen this kind of movie before. Somehow this movie, the way it was done, make you feel like, oh, it was interesting watch. And that was my thought on this movie. Let me know in the comment what do you think about this movie, and if you enjoyed my this review, don't forget to check out my other reviews on other Netflix movie. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Until I see you next time, please take care.